Hi, this is Glenda Robichaux. I am here today to share my recipe for self-care. So, I just want to state that self-care is something that I consciously try to work on and practice. I am by no means a self-care guru. I am human just like you, but I am aware that self-care needs to happen before I can help others. So, let's just talk about why it's so important. Remember that time when we used to fly places? Oh, yes. Good times. You're on the airplane, the flight attendants are running through all the safety things, and you get to the point where if there's a loss of cabin pressure, a oxygen mask will drop down. You're supposed to apply your own mask before applying others. Now, why is that? Because if you start applying other people's oxygen masks before you apply your own, you are going to run out of air and you won't be able to help anyone else. However, if you secure your mask, you are then able to breathe. You can keep helping others. It's the same idea with self-care. The more that you give and take care of yourself and feel good about where you're at, the more you can give to others. Some things that lack of self-care might lead to or might look like. I know for me, when I am not doing enough self-care on a day-to-day basis, I start to get annoyed easier. I know Kevin can agree with that. I get angry faster. I start to feel exhausted. I feel slightly taken advantage of because I keep giving and giving and giving to others and I'm not taking care of myself. You can also start to get sick. It can cause illness. So this is serious. Self-care is important. I want you to think for a moment about the gas tank in your car and the gauge on your dashboard. So there's the E for empty, the F for full. So just think about that gas tank and that gauge, and I want you to think about it being your self-care meter. Are you feeling empty or are you feeling full? And that leads me to the ABCs of self-care, with A being awareness. It's really important to know where you're at. So what this looks like for me is, taking time to check in. How am I feeling today? Do I have a lot of energy or am I feeling low energy? Am I feeling happy or am I more kind of dreading the day? Those can kind of help bring awareness of to where I'm at in my self-care tank. The B is for balance. It's important to have balance. So what restores you? What brings that self-care tank up back to, closer to 3/4 or full? What brings you joy? And to find that balance, you want to start incorporating that into your day-to-day. And then the C is for connection. So mind, body, and spirit. I think it's important to be practicing self-care in each of those categories, and I'll give some ideas. So perhaps you pick a self-care item for each mind, body, and spirit, and then incorporate that into your day-to-day. And then another way to help find connection might be to find a community or a group that supports you or help lifts you up. And of course, being intentional with your time. So I just want you to think about for a moment, especially if you spend a lot of time on social media platforms, I invite you to really kind of be aware when you're going on or opening the apps and to maybe find a balance, maybe set a timer for 20 minutes and find connection. So perhaps if you're in some groups, maybe it's a book group, maybe it's a group on essential oils, maybe it's a group on homeschooling children, whatever that looks like for you. When you open the app, going straight to that group and being intentional with that time that you're going to spend on that platform. And I'm going to use Facebook as an example. When I open Facebook, and if you just start scrolling, you have no control over what you are being bombarded with. And there's so much fear and uncertainty and negativity in the air right now that you can take kind of the control. You can take the reins over that and set your intention and your time for what you're going to give to that. That can be a part of self-care. I think self-care, sometimes we think of it as something that's super complicated, and self-care could be as simple as making sure that you brush your teeth, making sure that you eat, making sure that you drink water, making sure that you get sleep. It can be really simple, and it's really easy to lose sight of those things and to start to feel run down, and then your tank starts leaning towards empty. Other self-care ideas might be reading a book, journaling, dancing, doing some crafts, painting, whatever that looks like for you. So just to kind of give you some more ideas, when we look at self-care for the mind, I invite you to pay attention to your self-talk. What is the voice in your head telling you? It's really incredible that the self-talk that we give ourselves is stuff that we would never say to anyone else. So why are we putting that on ourselves? So that can be a form of self-care, is to just start to pay attention to your self-talk or that voice in the head and see if it's negative or positive and try and shift it. And how I do that is I'll grab an essential oil. So I've got rose here. It could be as simple as just smelling it from the bottle. Sometimes I'll apply it to my palms and just take a nice deep breath. Sometimes I'll rub it over my heart or the back of my neck and try and change, kind of flip the script, if you will. Take that negative self-talk and shift it into something more positive. Another idea for self-care for the mind would be to create a positive affirmation or mantra. So perhaps if you're feeling a lot of financial burden right now or stress around finances, creating some sort of affirmation or mantra is abundance surrounds me. I have everything I need. Shifting your mindset to the more positive. And again, you can use essential oils when you do that as well. It's also to know what's important. I think that we can very easily be in our heads and thinking about all the different things we need to do, all the different ways we're being pulled. But what I like to do is at the start of a day, especially if it's going to be a really hectic day, I'll write down maybe 3 or 4 things that are crucial, that have to get done. And once those are done, it's easier to move on and get more done. But it's first knowing what you really have to do. Because if your mind is all over the place, you're feeling pulled in a bunch of directions, sometimes it's really easy to get lost in that. I have so much to do, I don't even know where to start. So just really trying to prioritize what's important and what needs to happen and what needs to get done. And again, that is a form of self-care, of taking care of yourself. Diffusing essential oils. Citrus oils can be extremely uplifting. Mint oils can be really helpful and energizing combined with citrus if you need to get some stuff done. If you have kids that are doing the distance learning or you're homeschooling, diffusing essential oils like rosemary, frankincense, peppermint, those can all be really great with memory and helping them remember things. And then another idea for self-care for your mind is just maybe delegating some of those tasks out. Perhaps if the whole family is home, everyone can chip in with the house chores. Or perhaps you have a coworker that might be able to help take something off your plate. But just really, you first, again, have to be aware of what is happening. Find that balance, find the connection. And in all of that, you are practicing self-care. I'm just really trying to boil it down as simple as possible. All right, so self-care ideas for the body. Moving your body. It's so important, especially if you're tied to the computer all day at work. Perhaps you set a timer on your phone that once an hour you get up and, take a couple laps around the house or take a lap around your block. Working out, maybe doing a YouTube video, doing some dance in the morning or yoga. Just moving your body. Moving your body also can help our thoughts begin to flow again if you're feeling stuck. Sleep. Sleep is self-care. Sleep is very important. We really should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. 7 to 9 hours. It's crucial to our bodies so they are able to do what they need to do when we're sleeping. You know, when we sleep, our bodies are detoxing. They're getting rid of stuff we don't need in our cells, in our mind. So sleep is very important. Another self-care idea for your body might be doing a little foot soak with maybe like 1 to 2 tablespoons of Epsom salts. You can add an essential oil, peppermint or lavender would be really nice, or a drop of deep blue or a drop of Aroma Touch. And then once you're done with your foot soak, just give yourself a little foot massage. The deep blue rub is amazing for that. Also taking a bath, you know, carving out some alone time. If you have kids, or even if you live with anyone else, just maybe finding that time where it's your time to be alone in the bathroom, light a candle, put on some music, put some Epsom salts again in the bath, some oil, lavender, geranium. One of my favorite oil blends to use on Epsom salts in the tub is actually just a few drops of each of these: frankincense, eucalyptus, grapefruit, and lavender. Makes a really nice little blend for the bath. Another self-care idea for your body might be cooking a healthy meal. I always feel better if I've cooked something for myself and have taken the time to really honor the food and when I'm eating it, versus going through the drive-through where after I eat something that I didn't prepare, I don't really know what's in the food. I tend to feel bloated and just blah. So watching what you're eating can also be a form of self-care for your body. And I mentioned movement, again, just dancing in your kitchen, having some spontaneous dancing. And then also creating a morning or evening ritual for yourself. Or I'm just going to mention this because I've noticed for myself over the last few months, and especially during the quarantine, when you're not really seeing anyone else, you're not having to leave the house, it's really easy to be like, oh, I don't really need to shower. Oh, I don't really need to do these things. But then, you know, if it's been a day or two and I take a shower, I feel so much better. It's because I've taken that time to give myself some self-care. So like I mentioned, self-care can be as simple as brushing your teeth in the morning, at night, taking a bath, taking a shower, brushing your hair, getting dressed, changing your clothes. Those are all great self-care tips for your body and relatively easy. And I don't know about any of you, but I certainly know that a lot of that kind of started to slide over the quarantine. So I've tried to really, you know, get some of these habits back in place. And then lastly, some self-care ideas for the spirit. So finding time to meditate or pray or just have quiet time alone with yourself. Perhaps you like to journal or write, finding that time where you can have that peace to do some writing. Practicing gratitude, that's something that I like to do from time to time, especially when I notice my thoughts and everything kind of leaning towards the negative, is to just really remember what's working for me. And you know, if you really think about it, there are thousands of things that occur every day that work in your favor and work for you. So just really kind of, you're retraining your mind to be focusing on the gratitude instead of the negative. So perhaps that can look like either when you get up in the morning, or if you prefer to do it before you go to bed at night, just writing 5 things that you're grateful for. It can really help shift your mindset. Another self-care idea for the spirit would be to laugh. Have some fun, smile, laugh. This year has been way too serious. We need to have some fun and some laughter. Also practicing some breathing exercises. That kind of ties in with meditation, but just really sitting, putting both of your feet on the ground, feeling grounded, and being there with your body and your breath. That is very important as well and is also self-care. So I hope that some of these ideas got you thinking outside the box, or maybe just what you might want to start shifting in your day-to-day to help with your self-care. I hope that you also just really check in and see where you're at. Maybe you're doing great. Awesome. Maybe you need a couple of tweaks in a little areas to help with that self-care, but becoming aware of that is the first step. And then I just want to give you this tip, because I have used it a lot in the past, is if you tend to kind of go by your planner or your calendar, schedule in your self-care. Things that happen to get onto my calendar have a way of getting done. So that's just another idea for you if you're really struggling with where to fit this in. Something else might be is getting up before everyone else in your house. So perhaps if, everyone gets up at 7:30, getting up at 7 o'clock. If you have kids or you're living with others and you're not able to find that quiet time, think about either getting up a little bit earlier or just finding moments that you can sneak in the self-care. And most importantly, be gentle with yourself. I can't stress this enough. This year, no one was ready for this. No one knows how to handle this. Be gentle with yourself, be gentle with others, but most importantly, practice your self-care. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more and have a wonderful evening.